Alrighty, spawning top right side of Metropolis as the blue Zerg, we have eOnzErG.
And his opponent here in the bottom right corner, unfortunately scouting the wrong direction, is going to be our red Zerg player, Sziky. So already going to be a slight advantage here for eOnzErG, actually going to be getting that first scout versus the non-first scout from Sziky, and you know, as I've kind of talked about previously, this is a pretty big advantage for eOnzErG.
It is. It really, in any of the mirror matchups, any type of a slight advantage really just plays itself out so much stronger. And I mean, vision in StarCraft, are you kidding me? Like, yeah, this is going to be pretty big for a player like eOnzErG. I'm really excited to see how this one's going to go, especially after seeing, you know, our top three Zergs battle it out, you know, in this previous season of BSL between eOnzErG, between Sziky, you know, and our North American Zerg as well, Crossy. So it'll be kind of cool to see how this one goes. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually pretty excited for the
Striker. It was Striker. That's what it was. I was like, man, Crossy didn't play him, did he? No, it was Striker actually. Shoot.
But yeah.
What was that? Oh. Hawk, got you. Okay. But yeah, either way, really excited to see here. I always brag about eOnzErG Zergling control. It obviously plays a big, you know, role here in ZVZ. So excited to see how this one's gonna go.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of cool to see a continuation of the series because if I recall correctly, the way it played out, right, was Sziky started off 2-0 and then eOnzErG brought it back 2-0. And then ended up winning, right? It was something like that. They were pretty back and forth, though. It ended up being a 3-2 win for eOnzErG at the end of the day.
Oh, I thought, man, I'm totally misremembering. I thought Sziky ended up taking the series, but either way, like I said, not surprised. eOnzErG is just so good. You know, with that early lane control, and it kind of just carries over.
Yeah.
Well,
it was actually Crossy. Crossy's the one that took out Eon both times, right? Beat him in the winner's bracket and then beat him again in the loser's bracket. So
okay, it was okay, gotcha. Shoot. Well, I would say not only the vision advantage here is going Eon's way, but whenever you get away with a 9 gas or an overgas versus a 9 pool standard opener, there's just advantages here. The only real advantage Sziky has to his name is just the forward positioning of the Zerglings, but eOnzErG was never planning on really breaking or leaving, and it's clear because of eOnzErG's vision that Sziky has no plans to break through with just an enormous amount of Zerglings or something like that. So he can feel very safe to just kind of sit back. And yeah, we see that second hatchery advantage. Great, healthy drone line for eOnzErG as well. I gotta say, this is one of the more difficult positions to really come back from, is kind of Sziky's position.
Yeah, it's definitely very tough, right? eOnzErG is going to have that slight drone advantage as well as that larva advantage. And, you know, I say slight advantages, but those are two actually pretty massive advantages in this matchup specifically. And it is unfortunate for Sziky that he doesn't get the scout because he's pretty blind right now. He genuinely doesn't know exactly what he's up against. He might be able to surmise that it was a 12 pool based on a few things. It was very hard to tell when you just don't have vision other than, you know, a few of the lings here on the ramp, right?
Right. You're always taking that risk. And you can even see it. eOnzErG's getting that creep colony in the main that he doesn't even need. Sziky backing off. And honestly, in hindsight, looking at Sziky's Zergling control, maybe he could have tried to pressure the ramp a little bit, but who knows? We'll have to see here. Sziky is kind of showing his cards by taking this natural. Unfortunately, with, you know, a gas disadvantage here, and as we see, eOnzErG spending all of that gas right off the bat here. He should have a significant, you know, air superiority to kind of start things off.
Yeah, the hatchery take from Sziky kind of indicates that he did recognize what he's against to a point. But yeah, it's just that it's going to be almost... It's so hard for Sziky to hold on from here. We see this rally of units coming across from eOnzErG, and there's really just nothing at home for Sziky. He's not even going to be watching this meter. Instantly going to get picked off. And honestly, yeah, I was going to say, that's just an instant GG. Unfortunate for Sziky. But that is sometimes just the nature of ZVZ. I mean, it can be pretty brutal, unforgiving.
Yeah, very unforgiving. Like I said, that's got to be one of the toughest build order advantages to come back from. If you're Sziky and you're not even going to pressure with your ling count advantage, it's you're never going to catch up on gas until you get your natural up. So it's just tough. It's tough to recognize too with no vision. So that being said, these are best of twos. So still, plenty of room here for Sziky to come back and tie it up for this series here. Sometimes you just got to shake that off and then, get into the next game. But yeah, no big deal. Still, great build order selection from eOnzErG. He recognized the position he was in. Can't take anything away from that. So good to see.
Absolutely not. Yeah, it's going to be pretty important for Sziky, I think, to try to get this next game. I mean, obviously, every point matters quite a bit in the round robin here. But he is currently the only one sporting a win over Mihu, so he does have that under his belt. So I think if he can just recover, don't let it bother you. It happens sometimes. Just don't get tilted, play it out, and just bring it back next game. So I think we can go and hop into the next game here. We can just kind of keep the ball rolling a little bit. So let's go ahead and start. Second game here, Sziky versus eOnzErG. Gonna be on Litmus, one of the best ZVZ maps in my opinion.
And spawning top right side of Litmus as the blue Zerg, we have eOnzErG.
Opponent in the bottom right corner, we have our red Zerg player, Sziky. Top right versus bottom right. Kind of same positioning, but this time luckily it's a two-player map, so we don't have to worry about not scouting our opponent first as Sziky.
Yeah, you know exactly where your opponent's going to be. That being said, Litmus, I'm just as hyped for this map as you are. I don't really get to see it a whole lot. Even in the last BSL set, ZVZ, you would see this banned a lot because it does play so much differently than your typical map for ZVZ. I'll tell you, I ran into a really crazy build order the other day that really kind of threw me off. It was actually, similar builds to the last game. I opened over 9 gas versus a 9 pool player, and I just kind of sat on my side of the map, didn't think much of it. Defended my ramp with Zerglings. He didn't really even end up pressuring with Lings, and I was like, okay, I win. Like, I just have more gas. Spent my 700 gas, made 7 mutas, had 4 Scourge, went to attack, and I got run over. And I look back at the replay, the opponent recognized off of a 9 pool speed opener, went lair, and then took a double gas faster and had more gas than me, even going 9 gas for a build order. I was like, whoa, okay, this is eye-opening. Like, there is so much more to this map for ZVZ than I anticipated.
Yeah, there's just a lot of room for creativity on this map. And here we're actually seeing the kind of a 9 pool versus 12 pool, but because we do the second hatchery in the main allot with a 12 pool build, it's going to be allowed to just hold the ramp, right? So he's not going to be desperate to hold on to a hatchery or anything like that. Even gets his drones in position here to try to help fight the Lings, but he actually gets a pretty decent angle, does the eOnzErG, so he's going to win out in the Ling fight here and have 2 Lings left over. Hopefully, for Sziky's sake, he doesn't lose a drone. Looks like eOnzErG is going to back off. A couple more Lings are going to be joining those, so he's going to be able to keep the pressure up for now, and he can kind of just lean on Sziky really until the second hatchery's larva kicks in.
Yeah, the 2 drone pull from Sziky was cute, but man, it just doesn't seem to be enough here. Yeah, it looks like Sziky spread a little thin. eOnzErG definitely getting the better of that engagement, catching 2 Lings as they spawn. Oh man, I'm telling you, eOnzErG, he does not get sloppy with his Zergling control at all.
Yeah, nice drill from Sziky. Does end up losing 1 drone. The Spire is on the way for eOnzErG, and eOnzErG did lair no speed as well. I don't know if he started after. Yeah, so he's just completely skipping speed, in this and just going straight for this meter pressure after these lanes. And we see he's kind of sporting a 2-drone lead right now. It's nothing huge at the moment because Sziky does have that extra larva. And if anything, Eon might need to be a little bit careful of the potential counter lanes coming in, right? But he does see with his Overlord what's coming out of those larvae, so not going to need to make a sunken or anything, and is actually going to be able to drop his own hatchery inside of his base now.
He has... Oh! Sziky ended up picking off the first ling here, so suddenly this is not such an easy hold on the ramp here for eOnzErG. However, he does have a couple more Zerglings rallied in, yet it's Sziky with the first Zergling speed, despite the opener. Still, eOnzErG's Spire timing is incredible here. I mean, he really just needs to kind of zone out these Zerglings with his own slow Zerglings, get 1 or 2 muta out, and then really Sziky will not be allowed to pressure anymore. Still though, Sziky continuing that Zergling production. We're seeing more red streaming across the map here. eOnzErG is countering by making a sunken colony in the main here. Yeah, Scourge. He might be trying to supply block with an Overlord or something. Ooh, Sziky though. Great control here. Catches a couple Zerglings out of position. Great hold.
So he does use that Scourge to snipe an Overlord, which does supply block Sziky. So I guess that does kind of at least take the pressure off of him a little bit. It's just kind of a unique way of kind of handling the situation. But this hatchery actually going to be targeted down, and it's actually going to fall. So this larva advantage will actually stay in Sziky's favor here. So really, with that pickoff and forcing the creep colony, he's kind of brought it back in his favor. He's going to have the Ling advantage as well, so he can kind of pressure with that. So the main thing here is just not taking too much damage from the air of eOnzErG.
Yeah, it's going to be easier said than done. eOnzErG does at least, I mean, his biggest advantage is the muta count advantage for now. And, you know, in the hands of a lot of great Zergs, that's really the advantage that matters. So we'll have to see how this one goes. Ooh, great Scourge timing. Looks like eOnzErG completely missed it.
Yeah.
Wow. Huge detonations there from those Scourge. And suddenly, man, Sziky really clawing this game back.
Yeah, it was looking pretty bad for him after that opening, but he really has brought it back, and he's actually even comfortable now taking a second gas, so he's going to try to leverage this little bit of a good trade in his favor to try and get the second gas to get another advantage. We see the air coming across here from eOnzErG now, but actually it's going to cut back because the single Ling actually, or maybe just not feeling comfortable committing anymore to pushing across the map. Because Sziky's done such a good job of buying himself time to get his Scourge and muta count up, and yeah, he's setting up very well defensively. eOnzErG's going to come in here and he's going to see the second gas start mining, and he knows that he's going to be on a timer now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's going to wait for 1 or 2 more muta and just end up going. I think he's really just kind of been put into a bad situation here. So we're seeing, you know, 2 more mutas in production now for eOnzErG, whereas Sziky really producing mutas and Scourge, doing a great job just spending all that gas. And I would say, off the top of my head, it looks like Sziky should be able to hold this.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to have such a high Scourge count, right? And he's making a few more muta, a couple more muta at least. But with this double gas, he's not going to have enough mineral income to really spend it on pure muta, but he's going to be able to get so many Scourge out to help with this engagement. He's getting up to a healthy enough count of muta where you can kind of micro with it pretty well against the Scourge, and then just go kind of all in on this kind of Scourge influx here to help battle the muta. And he's just comfortably sitting on 2 extra drones here, going to be out mining with this gas for a very, very long time, and he's just getting a big, big air lead.
Yeah, this is a massive Scourge lead here. I mean, it's just a huge flock, honestly. And we're even seeing Sziky get comfortable enough to attack here. I'm surprised to see this. I thought Sziky would just stay on his map, side of the map, the longer the game went on. All right, eOnzErG scouting this out.
I think it kind of makes sense, the timing of it, because it's like he knew that eOnzErG hadn't taken his second gas yet. But here we go, the big fight going to start here. Eon does have more mutas, so there's a lot more micro potential. It's very hard with this number of Scourge barreling down on you at the same time. And we do see several of the Scourge connecting, and the question ends up being, at the end of the day, how many mutas are left over from both players once these Scourge have all been dealt with. And it looks like eOn's doing a pretty good job, actually, of kind of microing away from the Scourge and picking this apart.
Yeah, he really has.
Wow,
I mean,
wow.
Somehow, I mean, he comes out ahead. He did lose a drone. That's one thing to kind of add is, you know, it's not like Sziky didn't get 0 eco damage for this trade. But still, though, surviving with 3 mutas left is eOnzErG. Now has a second gas underway as well as a second hatchery in production. This might be a recoverable position here.
Yeah, that trade went way better for eOnzErG than I feel like it should have, right? His control was very good. He did a really, really good job of not eating hardly any Scourge connections, while also staying away from Ziky's muta as well. And it, you know, he had like a 2 muta advantage, but at like a 15 or 16 Scourge deficit, right? But he actually managed to come out ahead on that fight, which is crazy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I wouldn't be able to do that against either of these players. Like, it's so difficult to engage once you have an entire controlled group of Scourge just running straight at you. You know, like there's almost too much going on the screen to really like micro right versus any one Scourge. I feel like it's tough, man. But I mean, that's why these two are the best of the best.
That's how I feel too. Like I feel like if I see this many Scourge coming at me, I feel like I would get like almost an overload of information, right? I would just see that many Scourge and be like, no, I'm not. I give up. That's
completely lock up. Like that's definitely how I deal with it. I'm just like, here we go. Another big attack coming in here from Sziky again. So many Scourge, but again, eOnzErG. I mean, all of the Scourge suddenly are out. Never mind, I lied. Here comes another flock from Sziky here, but eOnzErG continues to maintain somehow. Ooh, great connection, and suddenly, for the first time, I think Sziky actually has a mutal advantage here.
Yeah, it's kind of cool how he's doing this. He's like almost using the Scourge to buy time. He's taking a few swipes at the mutas, and he did pick off one on the outside, like as it spawned. But it's like while the mutas from eOnzErG are dealing with the Scourge, he's just kind of sneaking in like 1 or 2 drone kills every now and then, and just kind of maintaining that lead because of that.
Yeah, it's very important to do ZVZ. I mean, ZVZ more than any other matchup, a drone kill can just impact the economy so significantly. So it's well worth it to sacrifice a few Scourge to kill off 1 or 2 drones. There we go. Huge engagement. Again, both flocks of Scourge fly by. Sziky this time coming out well on top. Getting into the mineral line here.
Yeah, quite a few connections from both players, but I do believe that Sziky is taking a little bit of an advantage. Although these extra reinforcements here from eOn come out, does get 1 more connection, and actually the Scourge kind of buys space for Sziky to get these mutas out without taking any more losses. And once again, we just see a few drone snipes kind of going down. Actually, 3 more drones is huge on the backside of this.
Yeah, that's so devastating. We see the drone count now, 6 to eOnzErG to the 12 of Sziky. Sziky really doesn't need to pressure anymore. The onus is 100% on eOnzErG to get some damage, end this game right now, or Sziky is just going to carry it away.
Yeah, he's done a good job of just kind of chipping away at eOnzErG, and you know, once again eOnzErG having to rebuild his drones, and he just isn't really able to maintain that income that he needs to be properly spending everything on mutas and Scourge like he wants to. And it seems like every time, right when he starts to stabilize, so can start massing again like normal, Sziky just flies back again and puts the pressure on him again. We're flying into Overlords again, but it's not even enough to supply block Sziky this time.
Yeah, I think at this point Sziky will gladly take that trade, like any kind of eco trade. He's just at an advantage. Still though, I gotta say, eOnzErG somehow did recover the drone count, but I mean, now he wasn't spending on meter here, so big engagement coming in yet again from Sziky. Just another giant cloud of Scourge, and this time Ziky's not afraid at all. He's just running straight into the meters of eOnzErG. And that's game.
That is game. Not GG, but that is game.
That is a game. That is game.